So explain for people who don't know you, kind of what your background is. Obviously, everyone sort of knows Earthworm Jim, but your involvement, and then we can get to why so many people want to hurt you.
Sure. So Earthworm Jim is my biggest hit, obviously from the early to mid '90s. But I also did The Neverhood and Skull Monkeys is another video game I did for DreamWorks. I've worked for every major studio doing games, and then I started doing comic books. I did the book Gear. Creature Tech. These are all books I ended up selling into Hollywood for millions of dollars. I started selling the IPs in, and they didn't know I was a Christian. I've always been vocal, but just there wasn't an internet to get the word out.
Right.
And then that also opened up doors into television. So I was an exec producer on the Earthworm Jim animated series, and then I did a show version of Gear, the comic book, for Nickelodeon called Cat Scratch. This is before it went full blue hair LGBT over there.
Oh, I thought it was maybe a little bit of a send up to, a little wink and a nod to Ted Nugent, who also would be one
Ted
of your
Nugent,
allies.
Cat Scratch Fever. It's a great song.
Yeah.
And then so I've just always done video games, TV. And so when people say that conservative Christians aren't that creative, that raises my hackles a little bit, because I've always operated on the front lines of the world. That's where I want to be. I want to leave the 99 to go after the one. I'm trying to find people who maybe have never heard the gospel or never seen a Christian creative out in the depths of Hollywood and video gaming and comic books. And I've done 20 graphic novels. Those are long form comic books.
Right.
And this Earthworm Jim 2 is my 20th. So I got the rights back just for the book and started doing crowdfunding to kind of protect my career and do it independently.
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting is you just mentioned this. You came at it honestly, in that you made it in an industry. At that point, people didn't really know that you were a Christian, as opposed to, I don't want to say grifting, but there are a lot of people who effectively, as a stand-up comedian, I performed at a church once, and it was because my friend was a youth pastor. It was like some kind of a graduation. And then he told me and I won't name names, so-and-so in here, and these were people I'd never heard of. He said, they clean up making millions of dollars doing the church circuit, but they've never been comedians before. They go, no, they just were pastoring a church and they started being comedians. There's a big difference between making it work because you sort of use, I don't want to say a gimmick, but you know that you're performing just for that niche, and happening to be a Christian where your values define you, but making it in the deepest talent pool, which not only did you do, but Earthworm Jim, and not that that's the only thing you've done, but for me growing up, that is a marker in my childhood. That was one of the most iconic games. You had Mario and you had Sonic, and then Earthworm Jim came in, and surprisingly, as a Christian guy, it was considered edgier for me as a kid, Earthworm Jim.
Yeah. The first thing I saw of yours was your imitation you did of Tom Cruise.
Uh-oh.
So before I knew you were a Christian, I knew you were funny and you were talented. And to me, that's a high compliment when someone likes your work because of your
glib. You don't even know what talent is. If you had done the research, as I had done the research.
Got to do the fake laugh. You got to do the fake laugh.
I can't lie. I don't know if he could actually.
Okay.
I'm sure he would have a 7x70 cigar just because he's more comfortable with it. By the way, we're smoking a pipe and cigar because we found out that we both share. We are brothers of the leaf and the briar, not the leaf that you have in your belt buckle.
Different one.
For tobacco heads.
Yes, but continue. Yeah, it was considered edgier though too. Earthworm Jim. I remember as a kid, there were some things. It wasn't Mortal Kombat, but I remember as a kid, with Christian parents being like, "Oh, I don't know if I want them to see this level. There's boogers."
Yeah, we were very into Warner Brothers cartoons and Tex Avery, the classic Warner Brothers stuff, and the music we listened to. We were into Weird Al and They Might Be Giants and Cake. This is all kind of 90s stuff.
Yeah.
And we just wanted, video games were not very creative at the time. And so we wanted to bring in something a little more non sequitur, freaky, funny. And the tech side of Earthworm Jim that really doesn't get enough credit. It was so hard to cram that much art into a cartridge because you're talking about an amount of memory of like a postage stamp, like a floppy disk. So the tech guys were able to compress the art so well that it gave us way more frames of animation that allowed us to put in more gags and more humor for limited memory.
Yeah, and then they had like an N64. They had the expansion pack. Kids
yeah.
don't appreciate this now.
They
Their
don't,
phone
man.
has more technology
don't.
than we had in all of our systems and computers, for crying out loud. First time I found out what an emulator was when computers had gotten good enough. I said, wait, I can have all my Super Nintendo games in a folder?
On a disc?
So you've worked in the industry for obviously a very long time, and I want to get to kind of our connection with Andrew Breitbart and Big Hollywood. But first, for people, so what is it that has pissed people off about you? I know you've had the LGBTQ AAIP silent F after you recently. A quick search. Why? I mean, you have Frost your tips. You'd think you'd be friendly.
Yeah, they've been after me since the beginning. I oppose gay marriage. I've said that gay marriage is between one man and one woman.
Well, that would not be gay marriage between one man and one woman. A gay marriage between a man and one woman would be weird.
Marriage.
With the gender spectrum now, who knows? That could be an accurate statement.
And so that's really the basics of my disagreement with them is over the marriage issue. It wasn't, and that I don't endorse, so I won't endorse. And I've obviously in animation and even on my graphic novels, I've had gay crew members and trans crew members, and there was never a problem with them. It's with specific cancel culture groups that are online, organized behind the scenes. There's probably 30 of them in some Discord or forum somewhere where they all launch their attacks against all of my vendors and try to get me canceled. So on Kickstarter, they'll send 30 emails a day to Kickstarter to try and get them to remove my campaign. Anytime one of my Scholastic books would come out, Scholastic, this is hostile territory. Like Scholastic, they have a rainbow. Their name is in rainbow when they launch their books.
Right, but I just thought that was innocent because I was a kid looking through what effectively, it looked like a couponer flyer, and I was like, oh, look, a new Bernstein Bears.
Yeah.
I have to, I'll get that in a mere 9.5 weeks.
And they're all full Black Lives Matter now. They all give their donations to Black Lives Matter, Kickstarter. All of my vendors, Image Comics, Indiegogo, we're all on YouTube also. And so to me, it's really just specifically conservative Christians, because they'll give a Christian a pass if you're okay with gay marriage. And if you're okay with abortion or whatever, then you're the good kind of Christian.
Basically, they're okay with Christians like Rob Bell, who are going yeah, Rob Bell.
But I didn't believe in it.
But I didn't believe in it. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm here because love wins. Love wins, and I'm on fire.
Yeah. Oh, it really is a pit.
Wait a second.
I thought this was figurative. Little on the nose, God. Yeah,
so
no.
What we're seeing in the last 5 years really is a ramping up and the mainstreaming of political correctness, because this is all stuff I heard of in the 90s, and I just thought it was like some little campus joke. They were like, Doug, political correctness is coming, and they're going to get you. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're a bunch of freaks on a campus somewhere.
Right.
And now you've seen them come into full fruition in mainstreaming politics, even dragging both parties over to the left. And you see it in the church. You see it all over the church now.
Yeah.
And in major businesses that are doing the rainbow logo and the Black Lives Matter logo on, taking over their corporations. And now you're just seeing the mainstreaming of it. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the future, but I put my career I'm here to do my best, and then I just put the rest of my career in God's hands. I'm here to fight, and as soon as he wants me canceled, I'll get canceled. But until then, I'm going to be as vocal as I can be. And
watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.